There seems to be a lot of interest in Steyr, and I guess there has been for over 100 years. So we'll take a quick trip to Austria through these firearms. Quite interesting, actually, things to share with you. I'll start out with the background to Steyr. So some of you would know what a Steyr Mannlicher. They had different bolt-action rifles with the split rear bridge, but they started out with, well, they probably had other rifles and maybe even pistols, but this is the best known one, or the one that I know about. Joseph Verndl. So you can see it's a beautiful sporter. It's in a unusual caliber, but I figured out a way to get 45 Colt to work. So that's what I use in this. And I'll show you how this breech locks. So this was, you know, around the time that they were trying to figure out ways of using cartridges, because everybody had been using black powder and loading from the muzzle. So it's just really a kind of a rotating barrel lock. It's very strong, and this rifle shoots beautifully, as you'd expect. Whenever the ammunition stopped being made is typically when, I'll close that for you. So you can see this operation very simple, and then the hammer. Yeah, so they had to figure out ways of loading them from the breech. And this rifle shoots extremely well. I'm talking about normal yardages for a cartridge that's about the same as a heavy loaded 45 Colt. And it has everything that you would look for: good checkering, excellent stock configuration, no cracks, and actually quite an elegant butt plate, and the wood is good. Everything's good. Very nice. So bearing that in mind, this same company then goes on to make bolt-action rifles, and they made split bridge bolt-action for a long time. And then I think we've made some videos on the 1903 in 6.5 by 54. Maybe I'll make another one. And then they decided to modernize. Everybody sort of reached the same point in the 60s, therefore the pre-64 Winchester, things like that. They came out with, I should start with this rifle. So SSG 69. And of course, we're not talking about rifles being superior to some basic design. It's hard to beat the 98 Mauser, but at the same time, the industry couldn't just make Mausers indefinitely. So this was kind of unique. You can see on the bottom of the magazine, it says SSG 69. And removal of the magazine, very simple. And it has a window in the back of the magazine so that you can see loaded rounds. You'd see the base there. It's 5 rounds, and it feeds very easily and is a very smooth feeding system. This bolt has a tactical bolt knob. I'm not sure if that's original. It could be. Introduced as the name, the model number 69, 1969. Probably worked on before that, of course. You can take note of the front receiver ring, or tenon, as I guess we could call it. It's very long. The action is very smooth because the locking is accomplished at the back of the action. You can see the locking lugs there, there, and there. And yeah, I was actually at a place near a town, Carmen, Manitoba, and I was watching a guy shoot one of these. I was quite young, and I couldn't believe the accuracy, and I always wanted one, and in the years past, you never find them, so finally I have this 243. I could find out the year it was made. It would be neat if it was the one that I saw way back when, but who knows. Anyway, fantastic. And they use this as a sniper rifle, most likely in 308. Does it have a set trigger? People always ask. Some of them are set by pushing forward. This one, it's just what they call a direct trigger. And it has sort of unique dovetails in the top of the receiver. You have to sort of place the ring and then slide it forward. But locking is excellent. I mean, locking of the bases. And there are all kinds of quick detachable systems that you can get for these. They're very popular, and they stuck around till 2015 as a sniper rifle. As a sporting rifle, so you kind of try to remember what you're seeing here. As a sporting rifle, they did change a few things, and I'll show you. This is, I think they call this a professional, something like that. And yes, it says professional. So that's pretty straightforward. Same excellent system. So 243, and this is 270. Gee, this rifle has hardly been used. You can tell after a while from the magazine. Anyway, this 270, someone put on, turn-in bases, which is fine. I don't think I've shot either of these rifles. They're actually both hard to find, but they're coming out. You can see that this is the medium action. There was the SSG, then there was a small SL, or very small, then came the L, then came M, and then came S. And I have an S here, S being for the longer cartridges. So yeah, the professional, and the stock is a very early polymer. The Austrians came out with this before. I think it's called Macrolon, something like that. And the barrels of all of these have the hammer forge markings. You can see the spiral radius on the barrel. A lot of people find it nice. I noticed some Russian rifles have the same. They just leave that. That could be easily polished or turned off, but it's still there. They're just spectacularly accurate rifles, and you might, see this and think it's a cheap-looking stock. Some people, they don't like the stock at all, and I just go by how they were made, when they were made, and you just can't beat this action. People ask about triggers. I think the trigger is excellent, and this one does have the set feature. See, you just work the action. And to complete my thought about the lugs, of course, having the lugs at the front may be more desirable for accuracy purposes, but an extremely well-made bolt action with locking lugs at the back will be just as accurate. You just have to make sure that everything is precisely made. And it allows for very smooth and uncluttered bolt movement, because the lugs if they were on the front of the bolt, have to ride over the cartridge. And they're not exactly as easy to work with as the round bolt. Anyway, there are, arguments and cases for everything. The steel is excellent. This was still when they made things out of what I would say traditional steel, not powdered steel. So we'll review that trigger again and push forward. And I don't know, that looks like a pound to me. So that first one was the SSG in the family of these rifles. And in case you don't know Steyr, I probably said at the beginning but forgot, it's Austria, still there and turning out all kinds of fabulous firearms. So then next would be the wood version. So we had the SSG, that professional, and this one is called, I think it's called the Marksman model match. So this is the match model. These are harder to come by. The others show up once in a while, but the match, I don't see it. People like this model a lot, just judging from my collection. When they see them, most people say, oh, that's a fantastic rifle. This muzzle is threaded. Actually, all of them that I showed you so far were threaded. And this would be the L action. And yeah, the L. And this one, 308 Winchester. This one I actually shot maybe 50 rounds. Wonderful. And you can see it has double set triggers, same locking. You can see the same family. Oh, and this one went back to the, yeah, you can see this one has the longer tenon. whereas the professional has a much shorter tenon. This adds a lot of weight. I don't think I pointed that out properly, so I'll show you see how short that tenon is, because that's all you need to hang a barrel on an action. But if you're talking about match or sniper use, you know, super precision shooting, then you want to get away from any kind of vibration, and that will accomplish it. The more rigid the action is, the more consistent the harmonics of the action, and the result hopefully is better accuracy. Okay, and then they went full sporting for some models and came up with what I think are some of the nicest hunting rifles ever. And this is a Model L, and it's in 308, 20-inch barrel, and you can see it's just a beautifully made hunting rifle. It's actually quite light. I weighed it was 6 pounds something. Same rotary magazine, loading port here. Also, this is in an exceptional condition. Magazine has a picture of a roe deer, and then it says Steyr. You can see easily. The trigger guard is a polymer, but they seem to be fairly durable. I guess the odd time I'll see a cracked one, or somebody will bring one in, and I usually just use cyanoacrylate, you know, on a friend basis, and that's about that. Nice size action, isn't it? You just see it, and everybody likes these rifles. I mean, I've never run into anybody who didn't. They handle so perfectly, and you really have a feeling that the action is kind of indestructible, just perfect. So that's the Model L, full stock, of course, that's scarce. And then I just thought I'd show the people that write me that like more technical things. So I'm working on this. I'm working on it because I'm putting a new stock on it, and I've had it for like years and years. So this is a great cartridge, 6.5 by 68. You could look that up. The 8 by 68 is fantastic as well. These are European cartridges. 8 by 68, sort of like 8mm Remington Magnum or 325 Winchester short Magnum. But it's a nice long round, so it feeds smoothly. It's excellent. Rear locking, you've got the bigger action, hardly used at all, I can see. And I'll get a new stock on. You can see this is unique, that the recoil, so you're looking for a recoil lug up here normally, but the recoil is handled at the back. And so the stocks tend to be very well fitted, and the grain all proper. I haven't seen one split at the back. It's sort of counterintuitive, but it's actually not a bad way to go. Yeah, so that's our little visit to Austria, and on the side, Steyr Mannlicher Model S. And somebody's going to, oh yeah, I have these parts. I often, you know, this is the trigger guard for the 6.5 by 68. I often wire the parts together, and you can see, I think they put a red deer, which is similar to our elk. And other than that, I think that is probably about all I need to say. The bolt lift is quite shallow at 60 degrees, so they were early with making it very convenient to mount a low-mounted, high magnification variable scope. They thought of just about everything. And if you can come across any one of these models, there's something else to own. They're, like I said, not the easiest to find, and generally not super inexpensive either, but they're not the highest priced rifles either. Anyhow, hope you found that interesting, and we'll see you next time. Take care.